So in verse 17, not because I desire a gift, but I desire fruit that may abound to your account. I'm not saying these things because I need you to give to me. It does take money to run the ministry, but God is my source. He's going to take care of me. I don't need you. You need to believe God. And when you give, did you know that it blesses you? I've got to finish. I got to quit. But let me just quickly say that I was in Yucaipa, California, and I was ministering on Luke chapter 16 about giving finances is the least use of your faith that there is. If you can't do that which is least, you can't do that which is greatest. And I got up and ministered a message on that. There's about 300 or 400 people there. And after I got through, I took up an offering because it'd be wrong to preach on finances and not give people an opportunity to act on it. And so they had already received an offering that night. And I said, look, I'm going to receive an offering, just give you an opportunity to act. But so you won't think I preached on this for selfish reasons. I said, it'll all go to the church. I'm not going to take a penny of it. And so I took up an offering. And while I was sitting down and while they were passing the buckets and somebody was singing, the Lord spoke to me and He says, now watch, because people have started taking steps of faith. Look what happens. And I mean, I got up and we saw 2 deaf people, totally deaf people, instantly healed. And we started seeing miracles happen just like popcorn. People started jumping up and they were healed all over the place. And we had 4 people run to the front. I didn't even give an invitation for salvation, but we had 4 lost people run to the front and say, could I accept Jesus? Because they saw the power of God. All of that happened because people started trusting God in their finances. When you give, it's not about what my need is. That's the way it's often presented, but the truth is it's about your need. You need to trust God. And there are some people that the very reason you aren't healed is because you can't trust Him in finances, and He says that's least. Luke chapter 16, verse 9 and 10. It's least. That's the least use of your faith. If I can't jump from here to the front row, I can guarantee you I can't jump from here to the back row. And if you can't trust God with the promise that says give and it'll be given unto you, if that promise doesn't work, what makes you think that promise about by His stripes you're healed will work? If you can't do that which is least, you can't do that which is greatest. If you aren't trusting God in your finances, it's hindering you in your healing, in your joy, in your peace, in your relationships, in everything. That is the absolute least use of your faith. Trusting Him in finances is least. That's not for the super saint. That's for baby Christians. That's a starting point. It's the bottom rung on the ladder. It's not the top rung. Man, those are amazing statements. He was desiring this for fruit that might abound to their account. But I have all and abound. I am full, having received of that fellow the things that were sent from you, an odor of a sweet smell, a sacrifice acceptable, well-pleasing to God. You know, I don't know if this is metaphorical, if it's an analogy, or if it's real, but it's talking about that when you give, it gives off a sweet odor. I don't know if that's real or not. But if it is real, in the spiritual realm, did you know that being generous puts out a smell that pleases God? And conversely, being greedy puts out a smell just like poop. I've heard that flies can smell poop 3 miles away, and they're attracted to it. And when you are a stingy person and you're holding on to everything and just doing it for yourself, you put out an odor that draws every demon in Atlanta or wherever you live. I don't know if that's accurate, but it certainly fits as an allegory. When people that are stingy and holding on and aren't generous, you just attract demonic stuff. You attract problems. I was dealing with somebody just 2 weeks ago who is always having a problem. And they were wanting me to help them, and I don't mind helping them, but the problem is that their attitude stinks and it just draws problems. They're going to have problems. I don't care how much money I give them, because they just attract it. When you give, it's a sweet smell. It's a sweet odor to God. It draws the blessing of God. When you're stingy, it draws the demonic to your life.